The Suicide of Rachel Foster is a story-driven game that deals with the heavy themes of trust, loss, and the process of dealing with the realization of those troubles and how to come to terms with them. It is a story about family drama, grief, and burdens. The player witnesses the conglomeration of emotions through the eyes of someone who gets caught up in the middle and has to deal with it whether they like it or not. Nicole Wilson is part of a well-known family that owns a large popular hotel called Timberline up in the mountains of Montana. She is a spunky and straight-to-the-point type of person who has been fighting with multiple people about the ownership and property of the hotel after her father's passing. While rummaging through the empty hotel, a severe snowstorm gradually makes its way toward it, and she ends up getting stuck there despite all of her efforts to leave and not having to stay. Nicole winds up getting in touch with a FEMA agent named Irving, who seems to know a lot about the hotel. Nicole, with Irving on the line, ends up digging up past family drama while staying in her old home within the hotel and ends up finding out a lot about her family and herself for the good and for the bad.
Should be just beyond the Mountain Museum at the end of the stairs to the main floor, if I remember right.
Right off the bat, the opening is strong, the music is intense and impactful, and the way the gameplay and story is designed here is something I've never seen before. There is great detail throughout the game, graphics-wise and design-wise. The gameplay is a mixture of the game Gone Home and Firewatch, but instead of a house, it's a hotel, and instead of Delilah, it's Irving. The hotel is immediately unsettling. You as the player don't want to be there just as much as Nicole does. The rattle of a garage door shutter and the creaks of a floorboard make the empty abandoned hotel seem much more alive than it is. The snowstorm outside making the windows shake and the walls rumble especially really makes the empty halls and spacious high ceiling rooms feel incredibly chilling and cold, which correlates how distant Nicole feels with her father and acts he's committed.
911 emergency. How can I help you?
Throughout the game, you are usually tasked to do something. Go to this room and pick up an item, then go back to this other room to do something, or to trigger a conversation about something else you need to do. Pretty normal stuff in story-driven games like these. But here, there is something else accomplished not seen in other games of the genre. A drive. All the different elements of the story, voice work, music, and sound design makes the ebb and flow of the work the player is putting in worth it. Everything is so interesting and wondrous, it keeps you invested and gets your attention. The voice acting is incredible, which is hard to do in games like these. A lot of the time in story-driven games like these, where there isn't much intricate and varied gameplay to break up the silence, it's hard to make lines as believable as they need to be, especially with dealing with such hard subjects that this game tackles. The conversations that Nicole and Irving have with each other are all heartfelt and undeniably real. Everything comes across as earnest and honest, which makes treading back and forth through the hotel toward your next objective exciting.
I don't know what Jenkins told you, but I have zero intention of staying here longer than, let's say, 20 minutes.
Oh. But the storm.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm leaving straight away.
Maybe you're not aware.
Thanks for everything. Irving, right?
Irving. Yeah.
Bye.
The hotel is big. There's lots of rooms that go untouched, and you can go through the entire game without even seeing some things. You pretty much get to free roam the entire hotel after you pick up a key early on in the game. More of the hotel gets to be explorable the longer you stay there waiting out the storm and figuring out the mystery of Nicole's past. Your objective is always written on your map, but sometimes it doesn't outright say what you need to do next. So sometimes it can be confusing where you need to go exactly, but if you're paying attention of what is going on in the story and what Nicole and Irving are talking about, your first guess of where to go is probably the correct one. It can just be pretty vague sometimes given how huge the hotel is and the possibilities of events that could occur there. The hotel overall is a little underutilized in the sense that there are so many ways to include the unused rooms. The finale of the game is also a bit jarring because the situation that occurs right before it doesn't seem to align with the situation it puts you in. Nicole has a lot of family drama and uncovers some deep dark secrets as well as go through her own inner journey of self-doubt and trauma, but in the end, the last part of the game doesn't necessarily feel rushed but unfinished. After a strong start and such an amazing middle adventure through the hotel and Nicole's past, I wish the end of the game accompanied the same feelings. I don't think the ending is as deserving as it should be.
Bye. What can go wrong, we think?
The Suicide of Rachel Foster is a well-crafted game and trip through some hard realities. Though some confusing goals and somewhat of an awkward ending is there, it doesn't take away from the story it is telling. The bleak and eerie rooms of the Timberline Hotel and top-of-the-line sound design and voice acting make playing this a treat, and I hope more games of this form put as much care in their story ideas and development. I give The Suicide of Rachel Foster a 7.5 out of 10.